Top 10 most shocking true crime cases in American history. America has always been fascinated by crime. The dark side of human nature, the mysteries, and the shocking events that leave a nation stunned. From infamous serial killers to high-profile trials, some crimes have captured the imagination of the public and shaken the very fabric of society. Today, we're counting down the top 10 most shocking true crime cases in American history. Stories of murder, deception, and obsession that still haunt us today. But be warned, these are not just stories of criminals. They're stories of victims, families, and a nation forced to confront the darkest parts of human nature. 10. The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, 1978 to 1995. Ted Kaczynski, a brilliant mathematician turned recluse, waged a 17-year campaign of terror across America. Known as the Unabomber, he sent mail bombs to universities, airlines, and individuals, killing 3 people and injuring 23. Living in a remote cabin in Montana without electricity or running water, Kaczynski's existence was isolated and extreme. His bombs were meticulously crafted, targeting academics and corporate executives, a twisted statement against industrialization and modern society. The nation followed each bombing with fear, not knowing where the next one would strike. In 1995, the publication of his manifesto in the New York Times shocked the public, a blend of ideology, paranoia, and chilling intelligence. Eventually, it was Kaczynski's own brother who recognized the writing style and tipped off authorities. Arrested in 1996, Kaczynski pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty and spent the rest of his life in prison. The Unabomber case remains a haunting example of intellect twisted into obsession, and how isolation and resentment can lead to unimaginable violence. 9. The Boston Strangler, 1960s. Between 1962 and 1964, Boston was gripped by terror. A series of murders targeted women living alone. The killer became known as the Boston Strangler, responsible for at least 13 deaths. Albert DeSalvo confessed, but debates over whether he committed all the murders continue to this day. The city lived in fear. Women avoided being home alone, and even simple errands became dangerous. The case was groundbreaking for law enforcement. It was one of the first times criminal profiling was attempted, and it highlighted the terrifying reality that danger could lurk behind ordinary faces, neighbors, colleagues, or even acquaintances. The Strangler's reign reminded Americans that evil could be hidden in plain sight, and that even ordinary life could be interrupted by horror. The Lindbergh Kidnapping, 1932. One of the most infamous crimes of the 20th century, the kidnapping of Charles Lindbergh Jr., the 20-month-old son of aviator Charles Lindbergh, captivated the nation. The baby disappeared from his crib in New Jersey, leaving a chilling ransom note demanding $50,000. Despite massive searches, media coverage, and FBI involvement, Lindbergh's son was later found dead. Bruno Richard Hauptmann was arrested, tried, and executed for the crime, but questions lingered. Was he the lone perpetrator, or was there a wider conspiracy? The Lindbergh case brought attention to the vulnerabilities of even the most famous families and changed how kidnappings were handled nationwide. It also marked a turning point in media coverage of true crime, with live updates and sensational reporting shaping public perception. 7. Jeffrey Dahmer, 1980s to 1990s. Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee cannibal, committed crimes so horrific they shocked the world. Between 1978 and 1991, Dahmer murdered 17 men, luring many to his apartment under false pretenses. His acts included dismemberment, necrophilia, and cannibalism. When authorities finally entered his apartment in 1991, they found photographs and body parts preserved in horrifying detail. The psychological implications were staggering. How could a seemingly ordinary man harbor such darkness? The nation was forced to confront the reality that monsters could live among us, unnoticed for years. Dahmer was sentenced to life in prison, but was killed by another inmate in 1994. His crimes left a permanent mark on both Milwaukee and the collective American consciousness. 6. The Manson Family Murders, 1969. In 1969, Charles Manson orchestrated a series of brutal killings that shocked Los Angeles and the world. Manson, a charismatic cult leader, convinced his followers to commit murders, including the killing of actress Sharon Tate and several others in a night of unthinkable violence. He believed his actions would trigger a race war he called Helter Skelter. The trial revealed the terrifying power of manipulation. Followers acted with complete loyalty, executing horrors that were both senseless and calculated. Manson's crimes symbolized the dark underbelly of the 1960s counterculture and the dangers of blind devotion. He remained in prison until his death in 2017, but the fear and fascination surrounding his story persists. 5. John Wayne Gacy, 1970s. John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, was a man of contrasts. Outwardly, he was a respected contractor and community member. But secretly, he kidnapped, tortured, and murdered at least 33 young men and boys in Illinois. Many victims were buried in his crawl space, while Gacy maintained a public life, even performing as Pogo the Clown at children's events. The gruesome nature of his crimes shocked Americans nationwide. Gacy's case demonstrated that evil could hide behind the most familiar faces, and that appearances can be deceiving. His arrest in 1978 brought temporary relief, but the scale of his crimes ensured his story would be remembered as one of America's darkest chapters. 4. The Black Dahlia Murder, 1947. Elizabeth Short, known posthumously as the Black Dahlia, was found murdered in Los Angeles, her body mutilated and severed at the waist. The brutality of the crime and the mystery surrounding her death captivated the nation. Newspapers sensationalized the story, while law enforcement struggled with leads that seemed to vanish. Despite decades of investigation, her killer was never definitively identified. Short's death became symbolic of Hollywood's dark allure, a glamorous city hiding shadows of violence and obsession. 3. The O.J. Simpson Trial, 1994 to 1995. In 1994, former NFL star O.J. Simpson was accused of murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman. The trial was broadcast live, watched by millions, and became a cultural phenomenon. It was a battle not only over evidence, but over race, fame, and the American justice system itself. Simpson's acquittal sparked nationwide debate. The case revealed societal divides and questioned public trust in legal institutions. Even decades later, it remains one of the most discussed and controversial trials in American history. 2. Ted Bundy, 1970s. Ted Bundy, one of the most infamous serial killers in U.S. history, murdered at least 30 women across multiple states. Bundy's charm and intelligence allowed him to lure victims for years while evading capture. He escaped custody twice, committing additional murders before finally being apprehended. His trial was televised, exposing the horrifying reality of his crimes to the nation. Bundy was executed in 1989, but his story serves as a chilling reminder that evil can be hidden behind charisma and normalcy. 1. The Zodiac Killer, 1960s-1970s. The Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California, claiming responsibility for at least 5 murders. He taunted police and the media with cryptic letters, ciphers, and codes, some of which remain unsolved to this day. His unpredictability and anonymity made him terrifying. Anyone could have been his next victim. The Zodiac case captured the imagination of Americans, inspiring films, books, and countless amateur detectives attempting to solve the mystery. Even decades later, the killer's identity remains unknown, cementing his place as the most shocking and enigmatic criminal in American history. From serial killers to unsolved murders, these crimes remind us of the darker side of human nature. They shocked the nation, left lasting scars, and changed the way Americans view justice, media, and society. Some cases remain unsolved. Some reveal the depths of human evil, but all of them continue to fascinate, a haunting reminder that truth is often stranger, darker, and more compelling than fiction. In the end, these stories are about more than criminals. They're about victims, families, and a nation struggling to understand the unimaginable. If you found these cases chilling, subscribe and turn on notifications. America's history is full of shocking, mysterious, and unbelievable stories, and we'll continue to uncover them in future videos. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, the line between reality and horror is thinner than you think.